Hello everybody and welcome to Expeditious Fool Tarot. My name's Brandon, here with the Lightworkers card pool. We'll jump right into it today. We've got the Emperor. Get that a little bit closer for you. Alright, now with the Emperor, to me, what's jumping out and what usually jumps out with this card is it's, especially in the spiritual aspect like we talk about, it's definitely going to be the ego, right? It's a representation of the full ego. And it's many different forms, right? So let's talk about that for a second. As you can see, first and foremost, the big thing to take is you can see a lot of egoic values in this card just by the way the Emperor presents himself. You know, the Emperor presents himself as a very elaborate individual, somebody that has a lot of protection. They've got this shield here. They've got this shawl. Then they have all this armor, and it looks like armor on top of armor, jewels on top of jewels. Even their throne here. You could have a throne without all this extra, and it would still symbolize power. You could have just your armor on, and it would symbolize power. But it's very, very elaborate armor with a lot of different things. That's more along the lines of, when we start creating other things, due to our insecurities, we make ourselves look bigger, right? And that's definitely ego mind, out of balance, right? The other thing here that shows out of balance, which is this, maybe it's just me that sees this, but it's very, very slight in here. He's gripping this staff, and he's gripping it really, really hard. You can see his knuckles are extended. But what I see is there's a slight bend between here and here. Meaning that by him gripping that so tightly, what's happening is he's bending the staff. So literally he's gripping it so tight that all of his plans, his complex plans, which the Emperor does have capabilities of achieving, of organizing, those are positive sides. All of those complex plans, because of how tightly the Emperor grips, or how strong we hold on to our attachments, right? How strongly we hold on to the ego, and focus on all the power we have. Power, right? That's what the Emperor's doing. But it's making that staff, instead of being completely straight, go a little bit skewed right at the goal point, right? Thus, leading the Emperor to feeling like he needs to exert more power, he needs to exert more force, because he's already out of balance. So if something goes further askew, his goal is to bring it back in, right? And that's our ego game, right? Now, on the flip side, when we have it in balance, when we have the right things in charge, the heart, intelligence in charge of the body and mind, or as I would like to better say, the body mind, because the body actually controls your mind, your ego, scientifically. So with this, when he's in balance, he's a great leader. He's able to inspire many. He's able to handle very complex things, a lot of complex issues, a lot of complex situations. And able to ultimately handle, control, and organize many different things at once. So that's the ego, as far as using the ego for goals. We need the ego. We don't need to eliminate it, but we do need to balance it. Because if we don't balance it, it gets the ego gets too high on its own supply in a way. It knows it has power, so it wants to use power to get everything. And like the old saying goes, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar, right? So definitely something to focus on for all of us, definitely something to think about, as far as, in our daily lives, where are situations where we're trying to exert too much force when a softer approach might be the better way. Through meditation and things like that, that's one of the things I use that keeps me regulated and kind of keeps that guy in check for the most part. Of course, like everybody else, we have our highs, we have our lows. It's cyclical, it's a really tricky situation to master. And I believe once we do master, we're no longer on this plane. So that's definitely something to think about. If you have something, a goal, or maybe even people in your life that you're clinging too tightly to, sometimes you can even think you're doing all the right things, but because you're holding so tightly, you can't really see that staff is going askew. If you're a manager, literally, your staff goes askew when you lean too much on the authoritarian side. I spent most of my adult life in management, many different fields, between retail, restaurant management, call center management, etc. And that's one of the big things I noticed between successful and unsuccessful managers. The managers that were really able to inspire the staff usually don't stay managers for very long, because in our in our society and things like that, it's not valued that way. There are some rare companies out there maybe that do value that, but ultimately that's not what's valued in the business world, even though that's exactly what the employees want. That was one of my major urges to leave my previous career paths as well. Instead of staying in management in a very materialistic society that you can totally motivate the people, but the bosses above, even though you're getting results and things, they don't like that. Or they step in and destroy morale, and it's kind of a back and forth game. So we do that with our normal daily lives as well. So whenever you cling too tightly to that control, that's when things go askew. So I guess that would be my big message for the day. Try not to cling too tightly to that control, that ego, to try and keep things staying the course for you. All right, everybody? All right. Thank y'all for watching. Thank you, everybody who's donated. I really, really appreciate it. Also, if anybody's looking for a reading out there, I have availability today and throughout the week. Get a hold of me and we'll get you scheduled in. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day on purpose.